السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. So this is episode 3 in our series, and we're going to talk about now the quality number 4, and that is staying positive. And I've seen this in college when I was teaching. I continue to see it, with younger kids from elementary, middle, and high school. The attitude that we have towards education at times, specifically towards a specific subject or in general towards school. And I'm seeing that the attitude of the parents does influence the attitude of the students to a degree, and they have to stay positive. So I'm going to give you a few examples on how to deal with that. So the top one is students saying, well, math is difficult. Some of them, they say, I'm not smart enough to handle math. The material is too difficult to understand. What makes it worse is parents kind of like making the same statement directly or indirectly in saying, yes, math is not easy, it's difficult, it's a dry subject, so on and so on. And we don't realize that what we're doing is actually finding excuses and all these negative comments that we're making about a specific subject, which leads the students not to even try. I've had a lot of students where when they start to change their attitude towards a specific subject or school, they surprise themselves with their performance. So that attitude of staying positive is key. It's very crucial. And of course, if it's not there, then the other ones would not really matter. So as parents, we have to always remind the kids that we have to stay positive. In a sense, if I'm not really good at math, which is okay, not everyone's going to be good at all the subjects, right? Then I'm going to continue to approach it as one essential subject, for instance, and I'm going to try to do my best. Now, coming to doing your best. And I have to warn the parents here, the negative attitude a lot of times also comes from the opposite attitude that the parents have. What I mean by that, if you're a parent and you're expecting your kid to always get 100 and they're not getting 100, then they feel automatically that they're not smart enough to get that 100, and automatically they'll start hating that subject. So the attitude they have towards that subject is a negative one. So one of the things that actually I do with my kids, I tell them this: it doesn't matter what the subject is. There are those who are really not good in English, those who really don't feel science or social studies, and the list goes on and on. So I just use math as one to start with. So this is what I tell my kids: if there's a test, a project, whatever the case is, and you let me know about it, and I see that you're really trying your best for it, then whether you get an A, a B, a C, or a D, it really doesn't matter, in a sense that I'm not going to be seeing it as a negative thing. Let's say if you get a C, because you tried. It could be just that subject that you're not really doing well at, or it could be just that project or that test, as long as you are doing your best. Now, the opposite side to it is, if you don't tell me anything about it and I don't see you studying and then you get a B, I'll be upset, because what I'm assessing is the effort that you're putting towards that. And if we all approach it in this sense, meaning we're going to tell the kids that every single subject is important and your effort is more important than the grade, in a sense, because automatically if they put that effort and they start feeling good about themselves, again, you have to observe them and make sure that they are doing the work, then their attitude towards that subject will gradually start to change, and they don't see it as the subjects that their father or mother wanted to get an A in and they're only getting a B or a C and sometimes a D. It's more of like, okay, I'm trying my best and I will continue to try my best, and it's all about the effort that I'm putting towards this. So as they struggle with that subject, at least they're not going to be struggling with you putting too much pressure on them. And again, the other side to it, as I mentioned earlier, is you telling them that this subject is not important. Now let's go to the school. A lot of people have, this tendency of having that negative attitude towards a specific school or specific teacher. And that reflects on the student as well. If you have an issue with the teacher, you have an issue with the school, you don't have to always verbalize that in front of your kid. Especially many parents have their school district, or depending on where they're owning their house or where they're renting, that's decided the kid is almost stuck with that school. And then if you continue with that negative attitude, then it's more of like an excuse for the kid not to perform. And when they go home, guess who's going to be blamed? The teacher or the school. This is also a very bad way of doing things. As your students continue to learn, and you might have these experiences that are not perfect, and I always say should be objective, but most of the time it's subjective, meaning how we feel about that person, because we have different people having different opinions about the same teacher. Some say this is the number one, some say it's the worst teacher. That's more subjective. I feel it's not objective. That's a different topic. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the success of our kids. So always remember that your assessment of that person or the school, again, because some of us, it's more the issue with the school, then you shouldn't always focus on the negative things. As a parent, knowing that your child is going to be at that school, whether you like it or not, again, especially if we are dealing with you having only one school for your kids to go to, and you bought the house, you can't move, then you have to try to always look for the positive things and actually make up for the gap that you feel is missing. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you feel about the teacher or the school, it's how your child is going to continue to approach education. And if they continue to have that negative experience because you're bringing that feelings to them and you're exposing them to it, and sometimes you just keep repeating them, oh, you're going to a bad school, you're going to a bad school, your teacher is bad, your teacher is bad, therefore the subjects are bad, therefore education is not good, then what you're doing, you're poisoning the mind of your child who needs the education. So always try to change that. And then the last part is, when your children are the ones complaining, it is your job to always try to bring that positive attitude. You always want to kind of like help them change their mindset, not through coercion. You can't force them. You have to reason with them. Yes, you have to sit them down and make sure they do their homework, but you also want to try to change the way they look at school, they look at the subjects that they struggle in. And it is a process, but I strongly believe that at the end of it, if you really work towards that improvement, that change of attitude, and the maintenance, you have to maintain that attitude, because again, we're humans, we go through different experiences. You cannot expect your children to have the same approach, the same mindset, the same attitude and thoughts towards the subject teacher or the school. So you always want to keep up to date with their experiences and always try to bring the positive out of that. And this is one of the ways that our students will continue to learn, and again, our goal is for them to succeed. So this is number 4, and inshallah we'll be recording more videos if we are among the living for number 3, 2, and of course number 1. Jazakumullahu khair for watching, and may Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Don't forget to subscribe and like, and leave a comment down below on what other videos you'd like to see.